Hello and welcome to Lollypop Speed Art. I am your host, Lollypop081, here today, bringing to you the first part of my remake of the 6 Wives of Henry VIII. Now, Henry VIII was the King of England from 1509 to 1547, but in total, he married 6 times, and these ladies have played a significant role. So anyways, I'm doing Catherine of Aragon first, and in the second half of this video, I did Anne Boleyn. So right now, I'm doing the rough sketch digitally on Paint Tool Psi of Catherine of Aragon, and throughout the video, I will throw out tidbits and facts from documentaries that I saw in Wikipedia. Like, everyone knows how reliable Wikipedia is. So now I'm doing the line art here of Catherine of Aragon, and I did age her a little bit because from what I've read was that after Henry divorced Catherine, she put on some weight. But anyways, but that's beside the point. Catherine of Aragon was Henry's wife and queen from 1509 to 1533, I think. Yeah, 1533 or 1527. So Catherine was born in Spain as the daughter of 2 of Europe's powerful rulers at the time, King Ferdinand of Aragon and Queen Isabella of Castile. And she did have older sisters, and one of them was Joanna the Mad. But anyways, so Catherine did not marry Henry first, because in 1501 she married Prince Arthur, who was Henry's older brother, but he passed away from illness in 1502, a few months after their marriage. And who wants to be left a widow at 16 in England? And what I read was that she was probably one of England's first Spanish. She was like an ambassador before she was able to marry Henry. So a lot of people say she was the warrior queen. But before I get to that, this is how I did the jewels on her English hood. I drew out the jewels, the circular jewels, copied and pasted them in layers, and merged the layers down and cleaned them up. But anyways, getting back into this, she was the warrior queen, like taking after her mother Isabella of Castile and all. So she did teach Henry VIII a lesson how to be a king, according to one documentary about Henry's wives, which was made in like 2016. Now, a lot of speculation about Catherine's appearance. What I did choose like a nice peachy flesh tone skin. I did blue eyes, and I did strawberry blonde hair. And some portrayals do have her in this way, but most of them are like, okay, Catherine of Aragon is Spanish. She was from Spain. Let's give her like brownish, brown to black hair, brown eyes, brown to black eye, brown eyes and tan olive skin. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go by like historical accounts, but I can see like the reason why they did it. It's because they're not basing it on looks. They try to base it on the her personality in some cases. And in the same 2016 documentary, Catherine of Aragon was portrayed as the warrior queen she is meant to be, as like, even though other documentaries and film are like Catherine is emotional and stubborn. So anyways, she did marry Henry VIII in 1509 after the death of the former king, Henry's father, Henry VII, the founder of the Tudor dynasty. So one of the biggest problems for Catherine was that she could not provide a son and heir. So she did have a son in 1511 on New Year's, but he died less than like 2 months later, probably due to like intestinal problems or from SIDS or something like that. SIDS is probably just like my theory, but according to Wikipedia, he probably died of like intestinal problems. So miscarriages, stillbirths, short lifespans, and then we have Mary Tudor, who survived and ultimately became Bloody Mary. We'll get to her in a future video. So anyways, the outfit, her gown is based off of a miniature of Catherine that I found on Pinterest. Like a doll model of it. You know, like those figure models that they use for figure drawing. Anyways, I did do her a little bit more realistically, but again, this is kind of like my new style. It's more proportioned, but the hands were a little bit of a difficult part, even though I did get an A on hands and feet. But who cares? So I am doing like details because I did age her a little bit, and I'm doing shading with her nose bridge, like the eyes. Looks like I did redo it a little bit. I did redo it a little bit because I did it on the wrong layer. Sometimes that's a habit. But anyways, getting back into it. So Catherine was able to have Mary, who survived in 1516. Man, that's 500 years ago. So right now I am doing the shading for everything, like textures, shading, luminosity, and you'll see in a bit that I went like the tedious task of shading and shining the jewels on her English hood. But Catherine was an effective ruler. She was a warrior queen. So she did battle James IV of Scotland while Henry was fighting a war in France. But this was a bigger victory because she did defeat him, and she sent Henry his brother-in-law's bloodstained coat. Now that's a shocker there. But Henry, even though Henry was like, okay, I'm happy that my territory was defended, but I need a son, and that's why he divorced her. And because her marriage wasn't with on the accounts that she was married to Arthur before she married Henry to the Pope, but her marriage to Arthur wasn't consummated, so the marriage did not exist. But the reason Henry wanted to divorce Catherine was that he could take a younger bride, have a son and heir, and all that stuff. And he brought her to court. But anyways, I am just completing like the final details in her necklace, adding like the catchlight, some highlights, and here is Catherine of Aragon all done. So next, I am doing Anne Boleyn, who is Henry's second wife. So right now, I am doing her base right now, and again, like Catherine, I am going to share some tidbits about Anne Boleyn. There are some speculations with Anne Boleyn's look, like her natural portrait gallery look is that like she has chestnut hair and green eyes, but other accounts say she has like dark brown hair and brown black eyes. And again, I did base her gown off of her attire off of the portrait. So Anne Boleyn's birth date is speculated. Like again, Catherine of Aragon was born in 1485, late 1485 in December, Yeah, she's a December baby like me. But Anne Boleyn's birthday year is speculated because Anne, like, some speculate she was born in 1501 and some speculate she was born in 1507. But according to a lot of the documentaries, they go by the 1501 birth date. So she did like go to court in France and Austria, and of course with French she was one of the most stylish ladies in the court, and she caught Henry's eye. So now I'm doing the line art. I'm like trying to like do the hands properly, her sleeves of her dress properly. And again, her dress is black, so I am adding like the jewels, and I pretty much do the same thing as I did with Catherine of Aragon with the pearls on her French hood, which is the round hood thing that she's wearing, called an English hood. So I'm doing the same thing with Anne Boleyn. I'm copying like the circles or the pearls and place them on her hood, on her French hood. But again, I did mess up a little bit, so I did like went back and erased it, and I fixed them up again to make them proper. So then again, she caught the eye of Henry VIII, and she was a lady-in-waiting to Catherine of Aragon. And Henry previously made love with her sister Mary. So then, like, again, Anne Boleyn wanted to marry Henry before she could have sex with him. Sorry, YouTube. She wanted to marry him and become queen first before she slept with him, because again, the fear of illegitimacy. So that's why Henry had to divorce Catherine. So after that happened, and Mary, Catherine of Aragon's daughter, became a bastard, the bastard daughter of Henry VIII. So again, I'm going into the coloring of it all, and the tedious one is the pearls. Anyways, so in January of 1533, she does marry Henry VIII and becomes queen, and Henry's marriage to Catherine was null and void, and his marriage to Anne was lawful and good, even though a lot of people think she was a witch. But later that year, in September, she had Queen Elizabeth I, who was the most unlikely to become queen, but she happened. Oh, I'm adding like the details to her girdle underneath, and I did add like fur details onto her sleeves, and I did give her her necklace with her last name initial. So, and then after Elizabeth was born, she did miscarry and had stillbirths too, and they were all boys, let me tell you. And it was heartbreaking. It was her greatest failure. But she was responsible for the downfall of Catherine of Aragon. But in 1536, after Catherine of Aragon died, speculations came out that Anne Boleyn was messing around with her flirtatious behavior. So a lot of the men in the court came out and be like, "Oh, I had an affair with the queen," and you know what that means? That's treason. So they were tried and found guilty, and they were sentenced to death. And then Anne herself was charged with adultery, treason, which is illegal, and incest with her brother, which is scrutiny. And again, history be like, should we sympathize with Anne Boleyn? Like, maybe, like, the charges were trumped up. And they may have been. But Anne Boleyn was executed on May 19th, 1536. But Henry did spare her the axe, and he hired a swordsman from France. And one of her best performances was by Natalie Dormer in The Tudors, the TV series. But here is Anne all done with the background and such. And of course, both these pieces can be found on my DeviantArt page. And this has been Lollypop Speed Art. I am Lollypop 081, and I'll see you for the next episode and next video. Please subscribe. Peace.